The war between the United States, Israel, and Iran has just entered its most dangerous phase yet, in what President Donald Trump called one of the most powerful bombing raids in the history of the Middle East. American forces have struck Iran's most critical economic asset, Kharg Island, the tiny coral island that serves as the beating heart of Iran's oil-dependent economy. And the timing couldn't be more explosive. This isn't just another military target, this is Iran's economic lifeline. This is the island that exports 90% of Iran's crude oil to the world. This is the piece of real estate that keeps the Iranian regime financially alive. And Trump just hit it with overwhelming force. The attack that changed everything. Kharg Island is located roughly 35 miles off Iran's Bushehr province in the country's southwest, about the size of New York City's Central Park, but carries huge importance for Iran's economy, with a loading capacity of about 7 million barrels per day. Most of those exports go to China and India, making this island not just critical to Iran, but to global oil markets. On Friday evening, the strikes destroyed more than 90 military targets, including missile facilities, but preserved oil infrastructure. Trump made it crystal clear in his Truth Social posts that he deliberately chose not to destroy the oil facilities for now. But that "for now" is doing some seriously heavy lifting. Iran's semi-official Fars news agency reported that more than 15 explosions were heard on Kharg Island during the U.S. attacks, with targets including air defenses, a naval base, and airport facilities. The night sky over this strategic island lit up with explosions as American cruise missiles and precision-guided munitions found their marks with devastating accuracy. Trump's ultimatum: stop or get destroyed. Here's where this gets absolutely critical for understanding what happens next. Trump didn't bomb Kharg Island just to take out some air defense systems. This was a message, a very clear, very violent message to Iran's leadership. Trump wrote that, for reasons of decency, I have chosen not to wipe out the oil infrastructure on the island, but warned that if Iran, or anyone else, decided to interfere with the passage of ships in the Strait of Hormuz, he would immediately reconsider this decision. Let that sink in. The President of the United States just told Iran, I have the power to destroy your entire economy in a single strike, and I'm choosing not to yet. But if you keep blocking oil shipments through the Strait of Hormuz, I will turn your economic lifeline into rubble. This is economic warfare meets military precision. Trump is holding a gun to Iran's economic head while simultaneously demonstrating that he has the capability and willingness to pull the trigger. Iran's desperate response. Iran's response to the Kharg Island strikes reveals just how terrified they are of losing their oil infrastructure. Iran warned it will target American-linked oil and energy facilities in the Middle East if its own petroleum infrastructure is attacked. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi went even further, threatening to reduce U.S.-linked facilities to a pile of ashes. But here's the problem for Iran. They're already losing, badly. The satellite imagery tells a different story than Iran's defiant rhetoric. TankerTrackers.com reported that all 55 crude oil storage tanks appear to be intact, and 2 Iranian tankers began loading 2.7 million barrels of crude oil the morning after the strikes. Trump kept his word. He destroyed the military defenses but left the oil infrastructure standing for now. The death toll, 1,444 and climbing. As the war enters its 15th day, the human cost is becoming staggering. At least 1,444 people have been killed and 18,551 injured by U.S.-Israeli attacks on Iran since February 28th. But these numbers only tell part of the story. Among the dead are 55 healthcare workers wounded and 11 killed, including 4 physicians, 2 nurses, and 3 emergency workers. The conflict has systematically degraded Iran's ability to respond to the humanitarian crisis unfolding across the country. The American toll is also mounting. The U.S. Central Command confirmed Friday All 6 crew members died when their KC-135 refueling aircraft went down over Iraq, bringing the U.S. military death toll to 13. 7 of those were killed by enemy fire, while the KC-135 crash was not due to hostile or friendly fire, a sobering reminder that war kills in many ways. Israel has also paid a price. At least 15 Israelis have been killed and more than 2,000 others wounded in Iranian attacks. On March 1st, an Iranian ballistic missile strike on Beit Shemesh killed 9 people and injured more than 20. But the regional toll extends far beyond just Iran, Israel, and American forces. 27 people have been killed across Iraq, including fighters of pro-Iran armed factions, Iranian Kurdish fighters, an airport guard at Erbil Airport, and a civilian near Baghdad. Jordan was targeted by 119 Iranian missiles and drones, which injured 14 people. In Kuwait, a girl died from shrapnel-induced injuries. The scale of destruction. The numbers coming out of Iran are absolutely staggering. U.S. forces have struck more than 5,000 targets in Iran since Saturday, according to U.S. Central Command. Think about that for a moment. 5,000 targets in just 15 days. That's an average of over 333 strikes per day, or roughly 1 strike every 4 minutes, 24 hours a day, for 2 straight weeks. Human rights organizations paint an even grimmer picture. Independent monitoring suggests that in just the first 10 days of the war, casualties were far higher than official Iranian government figures. The scope of military infrastructure targeted has been unprecedented, spanning 167 cities across 24 provinces of Iran. Oil prices explode. The economic implications of the Kharg Island strikes are reverberating around the world. Brent crude oil closed above $100 a barrel on Friday for a second consecutive day, reaching its highest level in almost 4 years. Every time Trump threatens Iran's oil infrastructure, global markets convulse. 80 to 90% of Iranian oil is exported from Kharg Island. If Trump follows through on his threat to destroy the oil facilities, it would remove millions of barrels per day from global markets overnight. China and India, Iran's primary oil customers, would scramble for alternative supplies. Gas prices would skyrocket worldwide. This is why Senator Lindsey Graham has been pushing hard for the U.S. to seize Kharg Island entirely. Graham argued that controlling the island could shorten the war, writing, "Seldom in warfare does an enemy provide you a single target like Kharg Island that could dramatically alter the outcome of the conflict." Reports suggest an additional 2,200 U.S. Marines are heading to the Middle East, fueling speculation about a possible amphibious assault to capture the island. If that happens, we're looking at a whole new phase of this war. Iran's blockade of Hormuz. Iran's decision to block the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow waterway through which roughly 1/5 of the world's oil supply passes, is what triggered Trump's decision to hit Kharg Island. Iran isn't just fighting a military war, they're trying to hold the global economy hostage. The problem is, it's not working. American naval power has proven overwhelming. Qatar shot down 2 Iranian Su-24 bombers. The UAE dealt with 137 missiles and 209 drones in the first 24 hours alone. Iran's attempts to disrupt shipping have resulted in some strikes getting through, but they haven't been able to close the strait. Trump's strategy is clear: demonstrate overwhelming military superiority, destroy Iran's ability to project power, preserve the oil infrastructure as a bargaining chip, and threaten total economic destruction if Iran doesn't back down. This is the most critical moment in this conflict so far. The decisions made in the next 72 hours could determine whether we see de-escalation or total war. This is why staying informed is absolutely crucial. If you want to continue getting real-time updates on this developing war and understand what's really happening on the ground, smash that like button and subscribe to our channel right now. We're bringing you daily war updates, military analysis, and breaking news as it happens. Turn on those notifications so you never miss a critical update. The world is changing before our eyes, and you need to know the truth about what's happening. Subscribe now and join thousands of others who refuse to be left in the dark about World War III.